5, 4, 3.
It's episode 314, and we've got plugins for download lists, birthday emails, digital signatures, widget content, multiple domain mapping, and a new way to let others sell their products on your WooCommerce site. It's all coming up next on WordPress Plugins A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 30,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join John Overall and Marcus Couch for this weekly unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins A to Z.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, I'm John Overall.
And from the muggy but pleasant beachside bunker in Laguna Beach, California, I am Marcus Couch.
Muggy, what a drag. Not muggy here. It's a beautiful, must be about 18 or 20 degrees out there today. Nice, quite gorgeous up here in the Pacific Northwest. Well, Pacific Southwest if you're in Canada. Well, it's true. I'm in the Pacific Southwest of Canada.
That's true. So am I. I'm not of Canada, but...
No, you're in the Pacific Southwest of the U.S.
That's right.
So there we go. We're both coming to you from the Pacific Southwest. Now, there's a new slogan for us. All right. Well, we have the usual great show for you today with lots of tidbits and information. But, of course, right off the top, don't forget you can get all the show notes over at WPPlugins.com. If you got a couple of minutes, we greatly appreciate your time over on Stitcher Radio, giving us a little thumbs up button there. Or if you're listening to us in the iTunes store, hitting the iTunes review and giving us a review there. It really helps the show out.
Absolutely. It helps with the rankings. It helps to bring new people to the show. And any little bit helps as far as any reviews or any kind words that you want to say. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, of course, right at this point here, we'd like to pump out a little bit of self-promotion. And I myself am still sending out to the world there that if you are in need of emergency WordPress support, you've broken it, it's broken itself, you updated, you've got the white screen, whatever's gone wrong with your WordPress website, feel free to pick up the phone, give me a call, 818-850-7729, or send an email direct to john@wppro.ca.
And my reminder is that you are a WordPress star in your own right, and maybe you might want to write about it. And if you'd like to do that on Smashing Magazine, I am the senior WordPress editor for Smashing Magazine. This is a paying gig if you'd like to do it. A lot is involved in it in terms of editorial and things like that. But if you'd like to get your stuff in front of 1 million eyes, that's over 1 million followers on Twitter, over 250,000 in Facebook, plus the website itself. It's amazing. Next week, when I start my video end of this whole broadcast, I'm going to show some charts. You can take a look at some of what you may have thought were the biggest WordPress sites in existence, like WP Tavern or WPMU Dev or Torque or any of those. And you'll see that Smashing Magazine, the magazine I'm speaking of, gets about 10 times all of those combined in terms of traffic. So if you really want to get your eyes, get eyeballs actually on your content, whatever it happens to be WordPress related, get in touch with me, marcus.couch@smashingmagazine.com.
Absolutely. That's a great deal for you folks. Way to promote
But
yourself.
it pays. It's a paying gig.
That's what I was getting to. It's paying. It gives you money. Gives you some money for the time you'll put into the article. Something I'm going to be submitting a couple of mine here pretty quick. Probably this week. I've started writing the outlines, and they'll be being submitted off to him for review to see if they can accept it. Now, also just a little bit of promotion here. Don't forget we have the WP Jobs Board over at wppluginsa2z.com/jobs. A great place if you're a WordPress expert to go promote yourself, or if you've got a WordPress job you want to find an expert for, go over there and check it out. It's hopefully going to grow over the coming months and weeks. So
nice.
We're definitely pushing that out there, folks. Also, Right now, we have a contest that is still running, and it's running through to the end of July 4th, so only a day to go. Today's July 3rd, and happy 4th of July to all the Americans down there celebrating their Independence Day. Enjoy the fireworks and the beer and the hot dogs and barbecue and everything else that goes with it. And also what the contest is, we are giving away a pro license, lifetime pro license for the VC Splitter plugin from vcsplitter.com, donated to us by James Catoni. And we reviewed that plugin in episode 310. There's a link in the show notes where you can go enter the contest, or just go to wpplugins.com/contest to get there and enter the contest. All you got to do is give your email address and you can win this license.
Yeah, great. So all of you early listeners to the show, people that download this on tonight's release or tomorrow, be sure to enter that contest. You can win yourself a free plugin.
And also to let everyone know that don't know, we are now doing this show live via Google Hangouts, YouTube Live, and while we record the show every Monday, sometimes the starting time changes, but it will happen every Monday, and we will send out a link via Twitter. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. Tell everyone to follow us on Twitter. You'll get that link in the Twitter feed, and you can go in there and join the show and catch us live as we go through and talk about everything.
Yeah, starting next week, actually, I'm going to join in terms of the video portion of it, and we're going to show some of the screens of the plugins and talk about it that way. So a lot of stuff coming up from WordPress Plugins A to Z in video.
Absolutely. And as we're slowly figuring out all the bits and pieces, this show is going to be fantastic in the coming months. And we've got lots of things happening. I've got a couple more things to talk about here. But at this point here, we would like to thank our donors. First, we got to swallow. Wow. Don't breathe and swallow at the same time. It does not work. So at any rate, we'd like to thank our donors. Those of you who come in $50 or more, you can give us a note and we will acknowledge you here along with your note. This week here, we have no one with $50 or more, but for those of you who came in under $50, thank you very much. And to our Patreon donors, we thank you very much. Your Patreon has been processed for the month of July. So thank you very much for your support.
Yes. Thank you. That helps with things like transcriptions, which we use for people that may be hearing impaired and can't necessarily listen to the podcast. We do obviously the bandwidth and some other promotional activities. So we do appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Believe me, there are some people out there who are begging sponsors and things like that. We don't necessarily have sponsors. We like to feature different people who donate to the show, but go take a listen to some of the other WordPress podcasts out there. They are bought and paid for by hosting companies, by plugin companies, and the like. So, you know, we prefer not to slam that down your throat. We'd rather just have a value for value type of a thing. And that's exactly the way that we do it. So we do rely on your support. And this week we didn't have any major donors over $50. This is your time to step up. If you want to be sort of an executive producer of this actual show and contribute a specific amount over $50, we will not only mention you and your message on the show, but also give you a link to yourself, to your client, whatever it is that you'd like. And these links do have some authority and some prominence to them because we've been doing this show for such a long time. So please help us out next week. We could greatly appreciate it. Just head on over to wppluginsa2z.com and you can find out more. All
right. And a couple of pieces of news this week, a couple of great articles. The first one here is an article on 10 free WordPress widgets to build a better sidebar. And this is a article listing up several different ways you can get the widgets onto your website for building up a better sidebar, tweaking it out. It's a couple of different plugins that you can use. It's got some really good suggestions on building out your sidebar and what you can put into the sidebar. So check out this article here. Another article we've got this week is Matt Mullenweg has discussed, as we get everything coming together here, Matt Mullenweg has discussed core core focuses, downsides of a consensus-driven model, and more on the Apply Filters podcast. Wow, that was a mouthful for some reason. Anyway, it was a great little article here discussing the interview with Matt Mullenweg and what they're talking about in the 3 core focus areas. It's an interesting read. Go in there and check it out and see what Matt Mullenweg has had to say about some of the things in the futures of WordPress.
Interesting.
Last article we got for you this week here is popular WordPress plugin, WP Statistics. Now, this plugin I have used in the past, and I quit using it, which I'm rather happy for, considering this is the second time around I've seen this plugin for a hack in it and a hijack and a flaw. The current flaw in it is allows hackers to steal database and hijack websites. So if you're using this plugin, you better check to make sure it's up to date, or you might consider just replacing it. So check this article out. It's kind of important. This is a plugin that's well used. It's got over 300,000 active installs of it. So something you might want to consider if you're using WordPress plugin WP Statistics. So stay on top of it. Stay on top of your plugins, folks.
Yeah, and by that, you should check your site every couple days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, it gets to be that, you know, you can do automatic updates, I guess, but it's best to do that one by one.
Yeah, automatic updates can be kind of risky with plugins.
Yeah.
So you might want to be aware of that, but you could do them. It's okay. I think automatic updates works very well with the point installs for WordPress, but aside from that, I don't allow automatic updates. Okay, a couple of things I really want to mention here at this point. The first one is we now have the first of many more to come training videos for WordPress Plugins Network. And the first training video up is a simple one. It is from the Anti-Spam Bee plugin, which I use on every website that I build. And these training videos will be available on the wpsupport.ca website. The link is in the show notes, or through the WP Plugins A to Z site. It's all part of the same network. Now, some of the training videos that are coming will be placed only into the members only section of the website. And the members only section is a paid segment of the website. So be aware of that. Some of the training videos will be in the public WordPress, in the public realm. So it's going to be a bit of both. And now that I've dedicated the additional day a week, there will be at least one training video coming every week on Wednesday sometime. So just to be aware that they are absolutely coming now. I've made the time to do it. I've made the time for this show to improve it. Now, another thing that's coming, I had a meeting today with a plugin developer, and I've been talking to him. Something that I've discovered in the last couple of weeks, if you use WordFence and you pay attention to the scan results, you'll notice in the scan results of WordFence that they are starting to tag plugins that either appear abandoned or have actually been removed from the WordPress repository. This is something new. I've only seen it in the last week and a half on all the sites that I manage and all the sites that I check up on. And when I ignore it, the thing comes back. So I know this is something they're going to continue doing. And this is going to rise in prominence, I believe, through other scanners, telling folks this plugin appears to be abandoned. In other words, it hasn't had an update in more than 2 years. This plugin has been removed from the WordPress repository. Well, what's happening with WP Plugins A to Z is that I have partnered with a plugin developer. We are going to grab some of those more prominent abandoned or removed plugins from the repository, and we are going to fork them and update them and start to add to them and turn them into freemium plugins. And this is going to occur over the next several months. So start to look for that occurring with us. And this is another area that is of improvement in the WP Plugins A to Z show. Wow.
Great. Looking forward to that.
So I'm hoping that brings people around to what this show has to offer. And the donations will start to come in to really support us.
I hope so.
All right. You got anything else? Any other rants or news or feedback? Anything else we want to yabber on about here?
Nope, just a pocket full of plugins.
All right, then let's dive into the meat and potatoes of the show. So it's off we go. First up this week, I have a plugin that was suggested to us by listener Joe Mazzini. He's a listener to the show, and while he says this is not his plugin, it's one that he suggests is very good. It's called M1.downloadList. And here's what Joe had to say about the plugin first off. He said, it's hard to find a simple plugin that simply lists the folders in a page or a post of a website. And he said, this is it. It's well supported and documented and with many examples. Now, this is actually a pretty decent plugin as far as a plugin goes that you install, activate, and you use a shortcode with directing it to a specific folder in your WordPress website. And then what it does is it lists that folder up, and it's a navigatable list, whereas people can go dwell down deeper into the list if there's more folders. Once they find the files they want, they can then download those files, or if they're images, they can display them in their browser, whichever they want to do. Very easy plugin, very simple to set up, and it worked beautifully. Now, this is something that if you're going to use, I would suggest you use in a members only section where you want to allow access to specific files or folders to your website, or use it on a page protected post. You don't want to use this on something that is publicly accessible unless you're allowing publicly accessible files. That could get dangerous. So at any rate, a really great plugin, worked just the way it was suggested. I had to give this a top dragon rating. Check it out, nice. M1 download list.
Cool. All right. I've got something that is pretty unique within WooCommerce, and it's a unique twist on what you can do with WooCommerce. It's a plugin called Marketplace for WooCommerce. Can I say WooCommerce anymore in this review?
I'm sure.
It lets users. Yeah, it actually lets users sell on your store once you approve them as vendors, and it allows you to earn commission on their sales, which is pretty cool. I'm sure there's other things that you can tweak to this to have unique products where they can earn commission on stuff that they sell as well. So what happens is vendors can actually customize their own public pages. You as an admin can set up the specific URL slug of their page. You can choose a custom label for them that appears over the products. You can fully do the whole vendor application thing that goes along with it. And it has different capabilities for vendors, like uploading files, viewing their orders, publishing products, all of that kind of stuff. You can set up the commission by either a percentage or a fixed value, and you can actually manually or automatically create on order complete processing, all that kind of stuff. So they can also have their own tab that displays info about the vendor, their logo, their description, all that. So it's sort of on the line of maybe Etsy or something like that that you can set up for your own WordPress site. Not quite sure of the applications for this in terms of real world usage. I'm sure that there are people out there who have a great example of something that they could use this for, but it's a breakthrough for WooCommerce, and I thought I'd bring it to the show and rated it a 4 out of 5.
It may end up eventually getting a better rating because I actually see the real world usage for it.
All right, what do you got?
Something I was considering today when I was talking to the plugin developer I met with, in that he has a couple of plugins that he's been trying to sell and not been doing so well. And if we brought them over to our website, put them through something like this, we wouldn't have to figure out how to do the splitting of the profits.
Ah, well, now we've got it. We've got our own plugin.
We've got something. This is how you can do it: a small plugin market or something similar. So yeah. Lots of really great uses for it. I think this will be something that will eventually make its appearance on the WP Plugins A to Z site.
How about that? Nice.
All right. Well, next up, I have another plugin here. This one is called Widget Context. Now, the reason this one's come to light for me was I was in need the other day. I couldn't remember the one I used most commonly, and I was in kind of a hurry. So I decided to do a search for plugins that hide widgets just to see what else I could find in that area. This one came up more prominent than others, so I thought I'd give it a try. Basically, what I was needing to do was I was needing to hide a widget on one specific page. And there's a lot of plugins to do that. I have my go-to one. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but I keep it in reserve somewhere. Anyway, I was trying out something new. Well, this one here turned out to be okay. It didn't quite do the job I needed. The biggest problem with it is that what it does is it will hide or show widgets per sections on your website, pages, all posts, all custom pages. It'll do the home page, but it doesn't do individual pages or individual posts, which I found problematic. Other than that, not a bad little plugin. All in all, just a so-so plugin. So widget context, I had to give it a 3 dragon rating.
Interesting. All right, here's the next one. John, remember when you were younger and you actually received birthday cards in the postal mail from all your relatives?
Postal mail. I got a couple of relatives that send them in the mail still.
Yeah, that's good.
So
you know, cool. For some reason, we've kind of lost that. We've lost that correspondence. It's all been relegated to Facebook, right? People just send a one line, hey, happy birthday, blah, 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 every year, right? Same old crap. Sometimes you don't even hear from that person until it's your birthday. I actually one time thought of, what if I changed my birthday every single day to be that day?
You get a lot of people wishing you happy birthday on Facebook for no reason.
Yeah, every day probably. They wouldn't even realize it. Well, this plugin called Birthday Emails actually allows you to take your user base, and this obviously would require that they put their birthday in the field, but on their birthday, or all your users, it will send them a happy birthday. And say happy birthday from your site. And this is a great way if you are a developer and you have clients and you're developing a site that people register to, or users, or WooCommerce stuff or anything like that. Ask for their birthday, and this will automatically say, hey, here's a special promo code or a coupon or a special offer or something like that, or a free download or an ebook or whatever it is you want to do, based on what their birthday is. So remember, this only works for users that have entered their birthday on the user profile. So it's probably best that you start out with a new site on this. But I thought it was a great concept, and I rated it a perfect 5 out of 5.
That's pretty decent. That's kind of nice to get a reminder for things from people.
Right.
Okay, the final one I've got here today is called multiple domain mapping on a single site. Now, if you work with WordPress MU multi-user site, you'll know that it's easy enough to do domain mapping in there with the right plugins. Now, it can get complicated on trying to map out single pages, et cetera, but it can be done. But it's always been problematic to do that if you've got a standalone site, not MU, just normal WordPress install. And most people out there, let's face it, almost all developers own more than one domain. I'm guilty of that. I own at least a dozen. So at any rate, what you do with this plugin here is it allows you to take some of those additional domains you have that are related to your website, but all they do is point to the root of your website, and that's it. They don't do anything else. You can take those domains, such as I own the domain wpmalwareremoval.com. And I've now got that domain properly pointed to my page that talks about removing malware and how you can hire me for removing malware from your WordPress website. So this takes that domain, which was only pointing to my main site, and puts it to where it's needed most. And now you can use that in your marketing and anything else to direct people specifically to your landing page. Beautiful plugin, set up perfectly, activated the way it was supposed to, added the domain, everything all worked just the way it was supposed to. So one of those plugins that worked exactly like it's supposed to. So multiple domain mapping system on a single site, rated it a top 5 dragon rating. Check it out.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, let's wrap the show here. This final one is called Order Signature for WooCommerce. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It adds a nice responsive signature pad to your website's WooCommerce checkout page. This is a great plugin for getting customers to accept the terms and conditions of your site with a perfectly legal digital signature attached to their WooCommerce order. It's got many useful applications, very easy to set up, very easy to install on your site. And if you have anything that requires a signature from a digital perspective, this is great for that. It is called Order Signature for WooCommerce, and I rated it a 4 out of 5.
That's kind of nice, especially when you want to make sure that they actually have agreed to something.
Right. it's not just something. And also, it may be a good way to prevent fraud or chargebacks or things like that.
That too. That too, because then you can match an actual signature.
Yeah, if you had it on file. But I mean, also that's something to say back to a credit card company. Hey, look, they knew what they were getting into. They even signed it.
But the credit card company has their signature on file.
Sure.
So at any rate, that covers up this show. I covered up the M1 download list, which I gave a 5 to. The widget context 3, which I gave a widget context, which I gave a 3 to. And then the multiple domain mapping on a single site, which I gave a 5 to.
And I talked about Marketplace for WooCommerce, allows you to let vendors and other people get in on the action from your WooCommerce store. 4 out of 5. Birthday emails gets a 5 out of 5. And order signature for WooCommerce gets a 4 out of 5.
All right. And this week here, I don't have any other commercial promotions or promoting any other WordPress websites, as I missed out grabbing one. But there will be more coming in the future. And if you have any suggestions of your favorite WordPress website that needs some promotions, hey, go contact us at the contact page on wppluginsa2z.com and suggest these things to us. We are open to all kinds of suggestions. And this is a point here where, hey, donating to the show can be more than just donating money. We are looking for people to help with promoting the show, promoting us through social media, to helping us sort out the notes and everything else throughout the site, clean up things, organize, just all a myriad of small jobs that need to be done. We could use your support getting them done. So help support your show.
Yep, this is your show. Absolutely.
And the usual reminders. Don't forget, you can check us out on the iTunes store. Please leave us a review there. It really helps the show out and helps us with the iTunes rankings. And if you got a few minutes, hit us up on Stitcher Radio. You can leave a review on their website, and or just hit that little thumbs up button in the corner to show us how much you appreciate us.
Yes. And how can they contact us, John?
They can reach me on my website at johnoverall.com or send an email to john@wppro.ca.
And you can find me at marcuscouch.com, on Twitter at marcuscouch, and remember to follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z.
All right, and that's all we got for you. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.